GTA 6. The gaming industry just crossed a line that no one saw coming. Grand Theft Auto 6 is rumored to have a development budget of $2 billion. We're talking about enough money to fund NASA's entire annual budget or buy Twitter 2 separate times. To put this in perspective, that's more than most countries spend on their military in a year. This astronomical figure has sent shockwaves through the industry, with developers questioning whether gaming has officially lost its mind. Rockstar Games has been working on this project for over a decade, with reports of thousands of employees across multiple studios contributing to what they're calling the most ambitious open-world game ever created. The budget includes everything from motion capture technology that costs millions to voice acting fees that rival Hollywood blockbusters. Industry insiders claim that Rockstar is so confident in GTA 6's potential that they're willing to gamble the company's entire future on this single project. But this insane spending isn't happening in a vacuum. It's a culmination of a decade-long trend that's been building toward this moment. Star Citizen. This space simulation has raised over $600 million through crowdfunding, making it the most expensive crowdfunded project in history. What started as a promising space game in 2012 has turned into what many call a glorified tech demo that's been in development for over a decade. Backers who paid hundreds of dollars for virtual spaceships years ago are still waiting for a finished product that may never come. The game's creator, Chris Roberts, continues to promise revolutionary features while the release date gets pushed back further into the future. Critics argue that Star Citizen has become less about making a game and more about creating a money-making machine that preys on people's dreams of the perfect space experience. The project has burned through multiple development teams with reports of toxic management and impossible deadlines. Some backers have spent thousands of dollars on virtual items for a game that doesn't exist, leading to accusations that the whole thing is an elaborate financial scheme. The controversy has reached such heights that government agencies have started investigating the project's finances. And this is just the beginning of gaming's money problems. Cyberpunk 2077. Cyberpunk 2077 proved that massive budgets can lead to catastrophic failures. CD Projekt Red spent approximately $316 million creating what they promised would be the next generation of role-playing games. The marketing campaign painted a picture of a revolutionary experience featuring Keanu Reeves and cutting-edge technology that would change gaming forever. Instead, the game launched as a broken, unfinished mess that barely worked on most platforms. Characters would glitch through walls, cars would spontaneously explode, and entire quest lines would break without warning. The game was so fundamentally broken that Sony pulled it from their digital store, something that had never happened to a major release before. Lawsuits followed immediately, with investors claiming they were deliberately misled about the game's condition. The company's stock price plummeted by over 75%, wiping out billions in market value overnight. Years later, after countless patches and a complete overhaul, the game is finally playable, but the damage to CD Projekt's reputation was irreversible. On the other hand, some companies actually managed to make their huge investments pay off. Red Dead Redemption 2. Rockstar Games proved that astronomical budgets could work with Red Dead Redemption 2's $540 million development cost. The company spent 8 years crafting what many consider the most detailed open-world game ever created, with every blade of grass individually placed and horse behavior motion captured from real animals. The game world was filled with thousands of tiny details that most players would never notice, from realistic weather patterns to complex animal ecosystems. But this obsessive attention to detail came at a massive human cost, with reports of developers working 100-hour weeks for months on end. Some employees suffered from severe burnout, tarnishing the atmosphere of the team. The game featured over 60 hours of motion-captured cutscenes, more than most Hollywood movies, and voice acting that cost tens of millions alone. Despite the controversy surrounding its development, Red Dead Redemption 2 became a critical and commercial success, selling over 50 million copies worldwide. The game's success validated Rockstar's expensive approach, but it also raised serious questions about the human cost of such ambitious projects. However, not every company learned the right lessons from Rockstar's success. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 shocked the industry in 2009 with its marketing budget alone, proving that promotion could cost more than production. While the game cost around $50 million to develop, Activision threw a staggering $200 million at marketing it, 4 times more than what they spent actually making the game. The campaign was everywhere you looked: television commercials during prime time, massive online advertising campaigns, promotional events in major cities, and celebrity endorsements that cost millions. They bought advertising space on everything from billboards to bus stops, creating a media blitz that was impossible to ignore. This was the first time a video game company spent more on telling people about their product than creating it. setting a dangerous precedent for the entire industry. The strategy worked flawlessly, with the game breaking sales records and generating over $1 billion in revenue within its first year. But this success came with a dark side. It convinced other publishers that massive marketing budgets were essential for success, leading to an arms race of advertising spending that continues today. The game's success proved that perception could be more valuable than the actual product. Yet even this paled in comparison to what happened during the pandemic. Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. The pandemic era brought its own expensive nightmare with Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, which burned through an estimated $700 million in one of gaming's most chaotic development cycles. Treyarch had to completely rebuild the game after taking over from Sledgehammer Games, all while working from home during global lockdowns. Development was absolute chaos, with teams struggling to communicate remotely while trying to meet impossible deadlines set by Activision's corporate overlords. The original vision for the game was scrapped multiple times, with entire levels and storylines being thrown away after months of work. Voice actors had to record their lines from makeshift home studios, motion capture sessions were delayed for months, and the game's multiplayer component was rebuilt from scratch 3 separate times. The final product launched with numerous bugs, missing features, and a campaign that felt rushed and incomplete. Players immediately noticed the lack of polish, with glitches that should have been caught during basic testing. The game's development became a cautionary tale about the dangers of remote work in creative industries, showing that even unlimited money couldn't solve the fundamental problems of rushed development during a global crisis. But this disaster was just one example of a much larger problem plaguing the industry. Destiny. Destiny's development story reveals how budgets can spiral completely out of control when creative vision clashes with corporate demands. Bungie and Activision originally planned to spend around $500 million across multiple games in the franchise, but creative differences and constant rewrites meant that much of this budget was wasted on content that never saw the light of day. The original vision for Destiny was scrapped just months before launch, forcing developers to cobble together a new story from leftover pieces while executives panicked about missing their real estate. Jason Jones, the game's director, had crafted an epic science fiction narrative that Activision deemed too complex for mainstream audiences, leading to massive rewrites that cost tens of millions. Entire planets and storylines were cut from the game, with voice actors like Peter Dinklage recording hours of dialogue that were later completely replaced. The final product felt disjointed and incomplete, with players receiving a confusing experience that had little resemblance to what was originally promised. The sequel faced similar problems, with major portions being rewritten multiple times as Bungie struggled to balance artistic vision with commercial demands. This pattern of expensive rewrites became the norm for big-budget games, burning through money without delivering the promised experience. Marvel's Avengers. Marvel's Avengers became one of gaming's most expensive failures, with Crystal Dynamics and Square Enix spending over $400 million on what they believed would be the next billion-dollar franchise. The game was designed as a live service experience that would generate revenue for years through character skins, battle passes, and downloadable content featuring the world's most popular superheroes. Development took nearly 6 years, with the budget ballooning as the team tried to recreate the magic of the Marvel Cinematic Universe in video game form. They hired A-list voice actors, created elaborate motion capture sequences, and built multiple interconnected game modes that were supposed to keep players engaged indefinitely. The marketing campaign featured partnerships with major brands, exclusive merchandise, and promotional events that cost millions more. But when the game launched, it was immediately clear that something had gone terribly wrong. Players complained about repetitive gameplay, technical issues, and a progression system that felt designed to extract money rather than provide fun. The game's player base collapsed within months, with online lobbies becoming ghost towns as disappointed fans moved on to other experiences. Square Enix was forced to abandon the project after losing hundreds of millions, proving that even beloved franchises couldn't guarantee success with massive budgets. The failure sent shockwaves through the industry about the risks of live service games. Monopoly Go. Monopoly Go represents a different kind of expensive gaming phenomenon, one that succeeded by spending more on marketing than most games cost to develop. Scopely spent just under $500 million on marketing and user acquisition alone, making it one of the most expensive mobile marketing campaigns in history. But to put this in perspective, this marketing budget was more than Spider-Man 2's entire development cost. The game itself was relatively inexpensive to create compared to console games, but Scopely's strategy was to dominate the mobile advertising space completely. They flooded social media platforms, mobile ad networks, and influencer partnerships with promotional content designed to reach every possible mobile gamer. The aggressive marketing strategy paid off spectacularly. Monopoly Go has generated $2 billion in revenue since its launch, with some reports indicating the game has generated $5 billion in revenue since its launch in April 2023. The game became the fastest ever to reach $3 billion in worldwide consumer spending, accomplishing this feat in just 473 days. This success story has convinced other mobile developers that massive marketing budgets are essential for breaking through the crowded mobile gaming market. The game's success has fundamentally changed how mobile games are marketed and monetized in the industry. The Sims 4. The Sims 4 represents a masterclass in how to milk a massive budget for maximum profit over nearly a decade. EA spent an estimated $300 million not just on the base game, but on creating a content pipeline that would generate billions in revenue through downloadable content. The game launched in 2014 with fewer features than its predecessor, but this was intentional. EA's strategy was to sell basic functionality back to players through expensive expansion packs, game packs, and stuff packs that cost up to $40 each. The development team has released over 70 pieces of downloadable content, with the total cost of owning everything exceeding $1,000 for dedicated players. Each expansion pack costs between $20 to $40 and adds features that many consider should have been included in the base game from the beginning. The game's architecture was specifically designed to support this monetization model, with modular content that could be easily packaged and sold separately. Despite criticism from longtime fans about the aggressive monetization, The Sims 4 has generated over $5 billion in revenue, making it one of the most profitable games ever created. The success has convinced other publishers to adopt similar strategies, breaking up complete gaming experiences into smaller, more expensive pieces. This approach has fundamentally changed how games are developed and sold, prioritizing long-term revenue extraction over delivering complete experiences at launch. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more.